Most people think an explanation is a courtesy, a small tax paid to keep the peace, to be liked, to be understood. But that belief is a leash disguised as manners, a story the anxious tell themselves so their silence never has to hold weight. Explaining was never a courtesy. It was a transfer of power, engineered doubt, engineered permission, seeking, engineered submission, dressed as politeness. Today we take that transfer apart. This is the justification trap. The law that every unsolicited explanation quietly asks someone else to grade your decision before you're allowed to keep it. Every time you explain something no one questioned, you are handing a stranger a gavel and asking them to rule on a case you already won. Psychology calls the underlying mechanism an external locus of control. The more a man explains himself, the more he trains his own mind to believe the verdict lives outside him, not inside him. This is not a personality trait. It is a habit built one unnecessary sentence at a time, until the mind forgets it ever had final say over its own choices. The mechanism to reverse it is simple, and it starts before you speak. Ask one question: am I informing, or am I requesting permission? Information states a fact and moves on. Permission, seeking, dresses a request as a statement and waits for a nod. If the sentence in your head is permission, do not send it. Say what you did. Stop there. Notice what happens in the silence after. Most men rush to fill it, and that rush is the habit exposing itself. The gap between the decision and the explanation is where the locus of control lives. Let it breathe. The average man drafts 3 paragraphs defending a choice. No one questioned. The strategist states the decision once and lets the silence do the rest. But an unguarded mouth is a door left open in a house full of strangers, which brings us to the second law. This is explaining as submission. The moment a man over-justifies, he has already knelt whether or not the other party asked him to. The words submit before the meaning does. Biology backs this with the winner effect, the same mechanism that shapes status in animals that fight for territory. Repeated submissive signaling, even verbal, trains the nervous system into a lower status posture over time. It is not just perception, it is chemical. Every apology you did not owe, every "I just felt like" tacked onto a decision that needed no defense, is a small dose of the same signal. A losing animal sends after enough retreats, and the body starts to believe its own broadcast. The man who explains himself constantly is not being humble. He is practicing surrender in public, one sentence at a time, until the habit becomes the identity. The mechanism cut every "sorry, but" and "I just felt like" from your vocabulary for 1 week. Replace them with a flat statement of fact, delivered once without a follow-up sentence trailing behind it to soften the landing. The average man narrates his reasoning like a defendant standing before a jury he never had to face. The predator states outcomes like a verdict. No one is invited to appeal. But a man who stops narrating himself starts becoming unreadable. Which brings us to the third law. This is the mystery premium, the principle that information withheld appreciates in value, while information given away depreciates the instant it leaves your mouth. Every plan you announce before it is finished is a plan the room gets to shape, weaken, or quietly sabotage before you have even acted on it. Game theory names this directly. In repeated games, the player who reveals the least strategy retains the most leverage across every future round, because certainty about your next move is the one resource your opponent cannot buy back. Most men confuse transparency with integrity. They are not the same thing. Integrity is keeping your word. Transparency is handing out the map to your reasoning to anyone who asks. And that map is the one tool that lets others reroute you before you arrive. The mechanism for 1 month: stop volunteering your plans before they are finished. Announce results, not intentions. When someone asks what you are working on, answer in outcomes, not blueprints. The average man broadcasts the plan and lets the room pick it apart before it exists. The emperor delivers the outcome and lets the room adjust to him. But mystery without posture is just secrecy. Which brings us to the fourth law. This is frame control, not the manipulation of what others perceive, but the discipline of refusing to let their perception rewrite what you already know to be true. A frame is not won by arguing someone. It is won by never stepping onto their ground in the first place. Philosophy calls the root of this amor fati. A man who has made peace with his own choices has nothing left to defend, because defense only exists where doubt still lives inside him first. Challenge cannot penetrate a decision that was never uncertain to begin with. The mechanism, when challenged, respond with a question that returns ownership to the challenger. Why does that concern you? Instead of an answer that hands ownership to them. Let their scrutiny become their problem to justify, not yours. Watch what happens when you do not take the bait. Most challenges dissolve the moment the challenger realizes the room is not rearranging itself around their discomfort. The average man argues his way into someone else's frame and calls it standing his ground. The king simply does not enter it. But a frame no one can shake still needs a boundary no one can open. Which brings us to the fifth law. This is the closed door, the final law, the one the other four were built to protect. Certain rooms in a man's mind are never for public viewing, not out of shame, but out of architecture. A house with every door open is not honest. It is just undefended. Jung's shadow work applies here with precision. The parts of a man that stay unexamined by others are the parts that stay undiluted by others' opinions of them, untouched by the slow erosion of constant explanation. What stays private stays yours. The man who shares every doubt invites others to confirm it. The man who holds his doubts privately works through them alone and arrives at decisions that belong entirely to him. The mechanism: choose one decision this week you will not explain to anyone. Not your reasons, not your doubts, not your timeline. Let people wonder. Hold that silence completely, even when it would be easier to fill it. The average man hands out the blueprint to his own mind and calls it honesty. The architect keeps the blueprint and calls it sovereignty. Drop the habit of narrating your own decisions to an audience that never asked for the transcript. Define which rooms in your mind are closed permanently, and stop apologizing for the lock. Adopt silence as your default response to unsolicited scrutiny. Build a life that requires no defense because it was never built for approval in the first place. Start treating your reasoning as private property, not public record. Refuse to negotiate your certainty down to someone else's comfort. The door was never meant to open. Build it and never explain the lock.